Oh, hey guys. I trust that you're all doing well. All right. So, following our last meeting, we had a couple of snags as we were working with SNS, SQS, and Lambda. So I just wanted to do a short video to walk through the project of what we were doing. And this project, actually based on our Slack, what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to create a system that monitors S3 buckets for a new file upload. And what that does is that it is supposed to trigger a Lambda function to process the uploaded files. Then it will send notification to SNS and stores the metadata to an SQS queue for further processing. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen. And then we can just walk through it. So the first thing is we want to be able to have an S3 bucket created. So 4 things that we're going to be dealing with is we're going to be dealing with SNS, which is a simple notification service. This is a service that utilizes both the publisher and the subscribers. So publishers are entities that can send messages. Then subscribers are entities that can receive the messages. So these are subscribers. So you can create a topic, and a topic is basically just like a channel, okay? A channel of communication. So if I go to SNS, I can create a topic, okay? I can create a topic. And as we had earlier mentioned, if you create a topic, there are 2 types of topics that you can create. FIFO, that means that fast in, fast out. This subscription, it only allows SQS because it maintains, preserves message ordering. So it just means that the first message that comes in is the first message that is going to be sent out. So if you want to strictly preserve message ordering, then use this type of queue. But the protocols that can subscribe to it is only a queue, right? An SQS queue. Because SQS queue also, you can configure it so that it maintains the order of messages. But otherwise, if you use standard, which is the best effort message ordering, it has a lot of subscriptions. We have a lot of protocols that can get messages from that particular topic. And we are going to use this because we want to subscribe to just an email to begin with. So if a message is sent to the topic, we want to be able to be notified through an email. So this is a service in AWS that is a notification service. So I'll go ahead and use the standard. Then again, here we can just give it a name. That is my notification topic. I can leave everything else as optional. Then I can just go ahead and create a topic. So once I create a topic, then I need to create a subscriber, because according to what we're doing, we have to create a system that will, maybe let me just illustrate here. We have to create a system. This is our S3 bucket. So once we have an upload into the bucket, it is supposed to trigger a Lambda function. Okay? It's supposed to trigger a Lambda function. Once it triggers this Lambda function is supposed to send a message to our topic. If this is a topic is just a channel. So it is going to send a message to this particular topic, and the topic has a subscriber. It can have multiple subscribers. The topic is subscribing to email, right? To email. So that is email. Then also the Lambda function is supposed to send a message to a queue. So if we say that is our queue, okay? So that is the design of our project. So this is a bucket. That is S3. This is your Lambda. This is your Lambda. Okay. That's your Lambda. I can do that. That is your Lambda. Then this is your topic. That is SNS topic. Okay. And that is your email. That is a subscriber here. Okay. That is email. That's a subscriber. It's an email. Then this is SQS. So that is SQS. Right. So that is your queue. Okay. So once we upload a file to S3, it will trigger a Lambda, and this Lambda will do it. Will send a message to SNS, which will basically has a subscriber, which is email. We receive an email, but then the Lambda should also send a message to SQS. Okay. So we have created this, but now we need to get a subscriber. We've created a topic, but we need to create a subscriber. So go to create subscription. Then the protocol here is now where you choose the subscription. We want email. So the subscriber to our topic here is email. And what is the email? I'm just going to use this email. Then I can create a subscription. Now, once you create that particular subscription, your subscription will be pending. So what you have to do is that you have to go to your email. Yeah, you have to go to your email. You receive a notification. Let me just clear this. You will receive a notification from your email, meaning you've been subscribed to that topic. So just confirm subscription. Once you confirm that subscription, then the status will now be confirmed. Okay. So if I go back to my topic, I have my topic right here, and that topic the status is confirmed. So we have finished creating our SNS, and we have subscribed to that. Then let's go ahead and create our queue. So SQS, it's a queuing service, a message queuing service, and we looked at the different types of queues. You can have a delay queue. Delay queue just means that you can create a message. It will be delayed to be delivered. Okay, the message will be delayed. So that's a delayed queue. Now we can create a queue. We can create a queue, and again, two types of queues. You can either have a standard queue or FIFO. So if you had SQS subscribing to SNS, then if you created a FIFO SNS, then you can also create a FIFO SQS, because it will order, message ordering will be preserved. But right now, we're just going to use the best effort ordering, which is standard. So you can just create your queue, and I can call this my notification queue. Yeah, my notification queue. So this is the delay. If I want to increase the seconds or the delay, I'll be creating a delay queue. But otherwise, right now, I'll leave everything as default. Everything as default. And then access policy, I'll leave it as basic, because only the owner of the queue, owner just means the account that is creating the queue will be able to access, and that is the policy. JSON policy, the principal is your AWS account, right? Action, SQS, all actions, and the resource is this notification queue. So I'll leave everything again as default, then I'll just create that queue. So now we've created our notification queue. Now once we've created that queue, we will now go ahead and do it and create our Lambda. Okay, we'll go ahead and create our Lambda. So I'll just close this, then I will duplicate this, and right here I'm going to go to a Lambda. I will search for Lambda. So while I'm at Lambda, I have a number of Lambda functions. So I will just go ahead and delete this, and I just delete that function. Okay, my upload. Let me just delete all these functions. The function. I go ahead and delete that. Okay. So once I've deleted that, I'll just leave that. Then I can go ahead and create a function. So once I create a function, again, I'll create it from scratch. A function name, I'll say my notification Lambda. And then in terms of the runtime, I'll choose Python 3.9. I'll leave everything as default. Then I'll create the function. Okay. Now, once I create the function, you will see that Lambda will give you just the basic code. Right? This is the basic code for the Lambda function. But now, because I'm designing a system that the Lambda needs to send a message to SQS, it needs to send a message to SNS. So I have a code for a Lambda. Okay. I have a code for a Lambda here. Let me see. Where is it? All right. So this is our code. It's in a directory called lambda zip. I have a file called lambda function. Okay. Now going through this, we know what our Boto client is. Boto3 client. We're using Boto3 as software development kit. So we need two packages. We need JSON and we need Boto3. From Boto3, we are using the client, and we are saying that we need Boto3 because it's an AWS software development kit API that interacts with different services. So we want it to interact with S3, SNS, and SQS. So this is the Lambda function. Then we have a function that we are defining, defining a function in here. And now what we need to modify in this is we need to modify our SNS topic ARN. Okay, so our SNS topic ARN, if I go to SNS topic ARN, then again, I'll see it is my notification topic. So I'll go to my Lambda here. It is, if I just do that, it is my notification. I need to change this. It is my notification topic. So that is my SNS. Then for the queue, I'm using the URL. So if I go to my queue, I see that I have the URL, and the queue is my notification queue, right? My notification queue. So I'll go back to my queue here for the URL. It is going to be my notification, my notification queue. Yeah, my notification queue. So that is the URL for the queue. Then obviously we are using a for, right? We are using a for loop. We are using a for loop here to iterate through our event. So this event, it is the event that will trigger, right? This is the event that will trigger our Lambda. And in that event, we have what we have a key called record. So we want to iterate over that record in the event. And we looked at that. We want to iterate over that record. And right here I'm just printing an event so that we see what that event is. Though that is not very necessary. So I will comment it out because this is just for debugging. So we want to print, this is what triggers. So it is supposed to return for us. Actually, I'll leave it so that we see the event. Okay? It will return for us the actual event that is triggering the Lambda. Then from that, we are able to get our S3 bucket, right? Our S3 bucket, we're able to get our S3 bucket name from that particular event. Yeah, that particular event. And then the metadata, this is what is going to be sent to SQS, right? With the bucket, we are assigning that again as a variable. We have defined it here, which is getting it from the event, then the key and the timestamp, okay? Timestamp. And now we are sending it to the queue using SQS client. We have defined SQS client here. It is about a 3 client, which is SQS. So we are using that, but there is a method called send message. So that is the send message. The queue is our SQS queue URL, which we've defined here. And the message body, we're using JSON for dump, and we're dumping this metadata because we've defined it as a variable. We're passing it in there. So this is the message that will be on the queue. But this, for SNS, we're again defining a notification message. So in our email, when a message is sent to SNS, we're going to receive an email with this particular title, with the bucket and the key that it has been sent to our email. Okay? So that is our Lambda function. So once we have this Lambda function, so we need to zip it. So I'll get my terminal right here. Hold on, let me. Okay, so I can bring my terminal here. All right, I can bring my terminal. Right now I'm on desktop inside of a directory called Lambda zip desktop zip. I'm in the same directory. If I ls right here, I'm going to see I only have a file called lambda function.py, which is this. So I need to zip it. So I can use the zip command. I can zip, and I'll create a file called, let me say, my deploy.zip. Right. And inside of that zip file, I want to include a file called lambda function. Okay. So I'm creating this zip file. But what I'm including is I want to include this. So once I enter, it's adding that lambda function file into that zip file. So if I ls right now, I should see this zip file. Okay, this zip. So I've zipped my lambda inside of this. So now I need to go and upload this lambda, right? Upload that zip file to my lambda function. So I'll move this out of the way, and now I will go to my lambda right here, because this is the basic code that we have. So we'll go and upload from zip, then upload. So once you do that, I will go to my desktop, and I have a directory called that. So it has that particular lambda. So let me see. Let me go back to lambda. So I have this, my zip. Okay, I have this my deploy.zip that I just created. Right. So I will add that zip file. So it is that zip file that I want to upload. So once I do that, I'll just save. Right now, once I save it, now it has uploaded that function. Okay, it has uploaded that function, but I see that it didn't change. Oh, I modified, but I didn't change it. Or my ID didn't change, didn't save. So anyway, I'll go right here and change my topic. Again, my topic was my notification topic. So I'll go right here and I will do my notification topic. So that is my queue. Then for my queue, it was my notification queue. Okay, my notification queue. So I'll go here and I'll do my notification queue. Right. So those are the two parameters that I need to change. That's my queue, and that's my my Lambda. Okay. So once I have uploaded this, everything looks good as it is. This is the only changes I needed to make. Then I have to do it. I have to deploy. Right now, changes not deployed. So you have to click on deploy. Once you click on deploy, now these changes have been added to your Lambda function. Okay, to your Lambda function. So now that is my Lambda function. Okay, so I put it back here. So I don't need this anymore. Yeah, zip. So I have my Lambda function, I have my queue, and I have my topic. So I now need to go to my S3 bucket. So within this S3 bucket, let me create a new bucket. Let me create a bucket, general purpose, and I'll just say Lambda SNS SQS notification, right? 1, 2, 3. So the name has to be unique. So I'll do that. I'll leave everything as default. Leave everything as default. Then I'll go ahead and create the bucket. Okay. Once I've created that bucket, Lambda SNS SQS bucket, then I'll go now on this bucket. I'll go to properties, and what I want to do is I want to enable event notification. Right. So I can create an event notification. I can say this event is my Lambda trigger. Okay. That's my event. The type of event I want all objects creation. Whenever you put post copy any object inside of that bucket, then it needs to trigger that. Okay. Then I will choose the destination is a Lambda function. So I have to choose what Lambda function. I have my notification Lambda. So I'm pointing this bucket to trigger any action. It is going to do it to trigger that bucket. So I'll save the changes. Once I save the changes and I confirm now I have my Lambda trigger. Event type is all object create events. The destination is a Lambda function, which is my Lambda. So now I have set a trigger. Okay, set a trigger. Now, if I go back to this bucket now and try to upload an object, right? I can add a file. Let's say I can add this Lambda function. .py. I can just open it. Once I upload it, by default, it is supposed to do it to trigger this Lambda. So if I go to my Lambda now and I look at my monitor, we see that right now there's no data. There's no data. But if I look at my CloudWatch, if I look at my logs, I have one log stream, right? Meaning that it captured something, so it was triggered. But if I look at the triggers, I see that the Lambda function ran. Okay, the Lambda function was triggered. It was able to print. This is the event that triggered it. That is the print statement. This is the print statement that I included here to print the event. This is the event that triggered this. Okay. And that event that triggered, we see the source event is S3, Amazon S3, okay, in this region. That's the event type. So from this event type, this is where we will find out the bucket name and all that. So this is basically our event, and it has been configured. We see we have a Lambda SQS notification bucket. That is the bucket name, and that is the ARN of the bucket. So this is our event. It has a key called records. So from our Lambda, we'll iterate over these records, these key called records. And from records, we can look at different fields because this is a list, right? And we had gone over that. Now, but our Lambda had an error. It exited with an error, okay? So this is how you look at logs. We have an error here. Why? There was an error occurred because of access denied. We have an access denied error, client error. Client error is on our side. There's an error occurred access denied when calling send message operation. So we couldn't send message to the queue. Right? Why? Because we are unauthorized. Okay, we are unauthorized. So, because from the logs, it will give you the error. So now this is how we troubleshoot. So because we have an error right here. So what we're going to go back to our Lambda, and we will look at configuration, and now we will look at permission. When we look at the permission that this Lambda has, it only has one permission, which is just to put logs on CloudWatch. So Lambda is trying to access SNS, and it's also trying to access SQS. So that it delivers a message. But because it's a different service, we say that all services in AWS, they must have permission to interact with other services. So Lambda at this point does not have permission to interact with SNS. It doesn't have permission to send a message to the queue. So what you need to do is now we need to, this is the role, this is the basic permission that it has. So we need to be able to do it. to add permission to this role. So what we'll do is we will open that role. It is going to open. The only policy it has is basic execution. So we need to add permission. So go to add permission and attach a policy. Okay. What policy do we want? We can search for SNS, and SNS, let's say we can give it full access to SNS. Okay. Then we also want to add a policy to SQS. So SQS, all right, SQS. So we can add a policy to SQS. But even before, we will add a policy to SQS. So it has both SNS and SQS permission because it is trying to access the queue and SNS. So we can add these two permissions. Okay. So now our policy, well, Lambda, it has these two permissions, these two policies. Now making them three. So it should give our Lambda access to the queue and to the SNS. So we can go back to our Lambda. Now, if I refresh or just go back to my functions, Lambda now, and now I look at my notification Lambda. Now it has more permission. When I look at the execution role, it has access to SNS and it has access to SQS. So now that's good. So let's go ahead and trigger. Let's trigger our Lambda again. And we're not triggering it. We have to go back to our S3. Okay, so we can upload another file. So I can go to upload. I can look at desktop and let's say upload that file. So I'll click upload. So once I upload it, upload is success. I can go back to my Lambda and I can look at my monitor. Once I go to monitor, we see it was invoked, and that is the duration. So I can look at my logs. Right? I can look at my logs. When I look at my logs, we still have one log stream. So if I look at my logs, now I see I have more logs came in. So the initial log, say client error, access denied. Okay, that's a record. Into that 35, 48, 50, 51, 52. So this is the latest. This is the latest. Right here we had the latest version when it started the request, printed that, but it had a client error because it couldn't send that. But right here, this other version, the latest logs, we see it printed the record, then it ended the request, and that's the request ID. So it printed the record, and then the request was ended, right? So that is our latest logs. If you look at the version, every time Lambda runs, it gives you the latest, and you can look at the timestamp. So at 54:39, that was the latest when it started. It started the request, and that's the ID. So now we see that our Lambda ran successfully without an error. Now we can go to our notification queue. So when we go to our notification queue, because we have one subscriber, that is one subscriber who has an email. So now we can go to our email. So if I go to my email, now I'll see that I have a notification. So this notification, it says new file uploaded to S3 bucket. That is the name of the bucket, Lambda SNS SQS notification with key clutter storage room abandoned. So this is the information that is sent by SNS. Okay, it is sent by SNS as a subscription. So it has notified me that I have a file that has been sent to SNS, and that is the message. That is the message that we configured notification message. New file uploaded to S3 bucket. This is the bucket name. We pass it as a variable S3. That's the bucket name. We are getting it from the event, right? The event that we printed, right? The record. Then with the key, this is the name of the file. That is the key, S3 key, right? We're getting the object key. So that is the name of the file. So this is what is sent to SNS as a notification message. But because email is a subscriber, so this is what you'll be sent to your email. Yeah. Now let's look at our queue. So if we go to our queue, we have, if we look at SQS and we look at our queues, okay. We have this my notification queue. If I go to this notification queue and I go to messages, right, I'll see that I have one message. One message is available. So I have to poll for the message. It's on the queue, but if I want to see it, then I can poll for it. I can try to retrieve it. So if I open that message, then again, I will see what was sent is the metadata. Okay. Metadata was the bucket and the key, that is the name of the object that was sent, and the timestamp. Yeah, and the timestamp. And this is what we send as metadata. The bucket. So we say buckets as a variable, then this is the S3 bucket. Key is that, then timestamp is that. So this is the metadata that we are sending to the queue. Yeah, which is bucket That's the bucket, the key, and the timestamp. Okay. So this has been sent to the queue. So we can have other subscribers to the queue. So if I needed to process this message from the queue, then I can have this queue. I can have a subscriber, something to subscribe to this queue, but I can send this to another trigger, or I can send this for processing, right? I can send that for processing. So I can send that, I can create a Lambda, configure a Lambda function to trigger this SNS, but that will be, we are working it the other way. But right now, we've just dropped the message in the queue. Then we can have like a process, maybe an EC2 instance to be, or we can create another Lambda, function that will now take that message from the queue, and process it and do something with it. Okay. So this is a simple messaging project, And again, just for a recap, we have our S3 bucket, we have our Lambda S3 bucket, we have our Lambda function, right? Then we have our queue. Let me say this is our topic, and we have our queue. Okay, we have our queue. So once a file is uploaded to S3, it triggers the Lambda. Once Lambda is triggered, it sends a message to SNS, and at the same time, it sends a message to the queue. Once it sends a message to SNS, this message is sent to an email. Okay, this message is now sent to our email right here, our email, because the email is a subscriber. But now from the queue, what we are saying, we can go a step further and create another Lambda. Okay, so that this Lambda, its purpose now will be to retrieve the message from the queue. It can split the message, because here we're only interested with metadata. We only send metadata to the queue. So we can retrieve that metadata, and using this Lambda, we can process that and send it somewhere else. Okay, send it somewhere else. So now, just by a single upload, it is going to trigger all these things. You will receive notification. It will send a message to the queue. It will trigger another Lambda to do something. Okay, so again, this is a project that you guys can walk through, and once you've done, do a diagram for it. I'll put in a ticket for you guys to do a diagram. Make sure you document it, and some of these are some of the projects that you can discuss as projects that you've done hands-on as a DevOps engineer, especially in your interviews, right? So all the best.